Mike Bohn here with former UFC heavyweight champion Junior Dos Santos, who meets Jairzinho Rozenstruik, UFC 252 on August 15th. Junior, another big fight coming up. How's training camp been going? You look like you're in great shape.
Thank you. Training is going great. I'm feeling great, on this fight. It's good to be back on action, because after this whole thing that the world was going through, so it's good to be back in action, to be working again, especially against a tough guy like Jairzinho.
Yeah, absolutely. And how has just the past few months been for you? I know you're such a positive, happy guy all the time. It must be, all these things the world's going through. Has it been challenging for you? Has it been hard to keep your attitude up all the time?
Oh, yeah. It's been hard, it's been hard to be facing all this crazy things that, we are going through now. But like you said, I always try to pay attention on the positive side of the things, and it's been good to be spending more time with my family and with my kids. So it's there's always a special side of every hard moment.
Yeah, and how have you been able to train over the recent months? I know for a little while the gym was closed, but pros were still allowed to go in if they had fights and everything. Have you been able to train pretty consistently throughout this whole pandemic?
Yes, actually, I wasn't training, too much before, but as soon as I closed the deal for this next fight, I started to going back to the gym, and training with some of these guys. We have a close group, who can help me for this fight. So I think we can, keep the whole thing just between us, and also be more safer, for this COVID thing.
Totally. And Jairzinho has trained out of that gym before, right? At ATT. Is he there at all right now, or has he been kind of doing his own thing since you guys booked the fight?
No, he's here. Yeah, sometimes I see him at the gym. I say hi. But yeah, it's the first time I'm leaving something like that. It's been interesting, man. And I don't see that as a negative side. Actually, I don't see his training. I never trained with him, before, and I'm not seeing his training. My training partners are helping me. They already helped him before, but like me, everybody knows me at the gym. Everybody knows him at the gym now. But we are kind of doing a separate work for each other, So sometimes we can see each other, but it doesn't change anything. Anyone is doing your work.
Yeah, and of course, this isn't the first time this has happened at ATT either. Some other fighters have been through this. What about like the coaches, though? Even before this, were you guys using different coaches, or did you have to decide which coach would be working with which fighter?
Yeah, there's many coaches at the ATT. It's a big facility. It's a big gym. And yeah, that wasn't a problem, for us. Actually, the coaches that used to work with me, they are still working with me, and they didn't work with him before, so it's all good. Conan, who was the head coach, let's say, for us, for the gym, he's not being part of any training camp. He pulled aside and he said, I'm not being part of this fight for any of you guys because, I'm not going to feel good. And I understand that, and I accept that very well.
Yeah, and one of our other reporters actually interviewed Jairzinho a month or so ago, and he had mentioned to him about maybe you guys like sparring or something in the lead up to this fight, and maybe getting some familiarity there. Was that all kind of a joke, though?
Not really. I invite him to. I invite him to spar with me. At least once a week. We could do a sparring session. Once a week. I think that would be kind of a privilege for us. To train with the guy that you're fighting with. That would be something different and something actually, in my opinion, positive, because it would make the fight even harder, you know. And man, like people say, you cannot you cannot know this, you cannot know that about the other guy. But the main strategy, nobody's gonna know the main strategy, you know, for the fight. And also, all my training partners, they know me, and they know what I'm doing, or what I'm good doing during the sparring session, and it still works. So you know, I think I think it's you know, people doesn't like that because it's kind of you know, a bad feeling. I cannot explain that very well, but it's you know, I don't really understand that. For me, I think it would be very good. But of course, after the whole gym was listening to that and trying to decide if that was good or not, the decision was to not do that. So each one kept working by itself.
Yeah, fair enough. And you must love this style matchup, though, right? To go from Curtis Blades, who we thought was going to be trying to take you down the whole fight, it ended up being somewhat of a stand-up fight, but to a guy that we know what his background is. I imagine Jairzinho is not going to shoot for a single takedown in this fight.
Yeah, that's true. Jairzinho is not that grappler, you know, like Curtis. Yeah, Curtis, man, actually, he tried to do what he normally does, but he couldn't take me down by the first round. So he decided to throw some punches, and that works good for him. But Jairzinho is different, you know. He's a stand-up fighter, you know. He's a great kickboxing, and yeah, that's my thing, man. That's my style, you know. I like to stand up and bang. So this fight will be very interesting for the whole fans, and especially for me, because I want to come out with a big victory.
Yeah, what have you thought of his past couple fights? I mean, I think a lot of people thought he was losing to Overeem, and then he ended up knocking him out in the final few seconds, and then he lost to Francis Ngannou really, really fast. So have you been impressed by his recent fights, or what have you thought of them?
Yes, very impressed. You know, actually, his fight against Overeem was very impressed. You know, because yes, he was losing the whole fight for Overeem. You know, and at the end, you know, he connected a good punch. He got knockout power, man. So yeah, you have to be careful with that, and he knows how to use it. So which is make him a very dangerous opponent. You know, his fight against Ngannou, man, Ngannou is that, you know, he's too powerful, too much power on his punches, and he got long arms, you know, as well. So he was able to connect. As soon as he is able to connect a punch on you, probably is gonna go down, you know. But I don't think that means anything. It doesn't mean that that was a very fast fight. You cannot judge him by that fight, you know. And that was his first loss. So, you know, this guy's a tough guy. I know that. And I'm coming for this fight very well prepared because of that.
If you win this fight, where do you fit into the title picture afterwards?
Well, I think Stipe will keep his belt. You know, for me, he's a tough guy. He's great, you know, doing what he does. He's very confident on using his skills. You know, of course, Daniel Cormier, you know, is another impressive guy, you know, especially because of his wrestling, his skills, you know, his grappling skills. But I see that Miocic got he found a good way to the victory, you know, against Cormier. So I think he's gonna do the kind of same game, you know, to win this fight. Of course, Cormier, in my opinion, you know, Cormier is gonna be trying to take him down and wear him out, like make him tired, you know, more as since the beginning of the fight. That's gonna be a very interesting fight, but I think the whole division, the whole heavyweight division, is happy that this fight's finally happening, finally happen again, you know, and then we can move forward. And about me, you know, after my victory over Jairzinho, you know, man, it's I don't think, you know, I've been fighting for long time, already. I fought all these guys already, and I'm ready to fight with all of them again, and I don't really care who's going to be next. But of course, the goal is the belt, and I don't think it's going to take very much long, for me to be fighting for the title. This victory with another one or two more, I'll be fighting for the title again.
Very interesting. Yeah, there's still a great storyline with you and Stipe having to do a third fight, right?
Yeah, that would be also great. The first fight was a war. I won. The second fight, he connected a good punch, and he won the fight. By the way, for me, he's the hardest hitter in this division right now. Because man, that guy hits hard. And but this third fight, between me and him needs to happen as well.
Yeah, very interesting. It's probably better for the heavyweight division too that Stipe wins, right? Like you don't want Daniel Cormier winning, retiring, than just leaving the belt behind, right?
Yeah, I don't think it sounds good, but whatever. The better fighter will win the fight. But yeah, I just believe that Stipe is winning this fight because I just can see that he's in a great moment. And he's very confident, and he got everything what it takes to do this.
Yeah, absolutely. So I guess, do you have a prediction on how your fight with Jairzinho unfolds? I mean, we still haven't seen that much of him. He still only has 11 MMA fights, and some of his other ones were a bit shorter before he got to the more recent ones.
Yeah, it couldn't be different. I expect a knockout. Somebody's going get down, with a knockout, and I really believe this guy will be him. I'm feeling great, and I'm feeling great shape, and I'm ready to go there and put things in the right place again.
For sure. And I had to ask you, since I know you're a big boxing guy, what do you think of Mike Tyson coming back to have this exhibition fight with Roy Jones Jr.?
That's nice. I think that's great, actually. For us, when Mike Tyson was fighting, I didn't even understand things at that point. But yeah, I think it's gonna be great to even for an exhibition fight. It's gonna be great for us. For MMA, not MMA, like the fight chance. To be seeing this guy, who is a beast, who is a beast, on this fight game. So it's gonna be very interesting, to be watching this fight. I know it's gonna be more for fun, but still nice.
Yeah, it's interesting. Mike's training with Rafael Cordero, who obviously has a big MMA connection. So I think that's kind of an interesting coach for him to work with, right?
Yeah, it's gonna be. I understand that Rafael is a great coach, Muay Thai coach, right?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, if Mike Tyson feels that it's the right way to go, especially for his style. His style is very aggressive. So, I think it's going to work good for him.
For sure. And for you, are we keeping the mustache for the fight?
Oh, yes, sir. I'm not taking the mustache very soon, It's my wife told me to take off. Actually, she liked it at the beginning. Then when it was getting big like this, she said, better take off. I said, not now. Let's wait. Let's wait for the fight now. And it's like sun sound. Sun sound?
Yeah.
From the Bible, yeah. But I don't have hair, so I have the mustache.
Yeah, you got the power though, right?
Yeah.
For sure. And last thing, are we singing any new songs these days, or are you still going hard on Purple Rain?
Oh my gosh, man. I've been, music is just amazing. I've been singing many different songs with my son all the time, and he loves it too. So
you got a little example for us? Let's hear the pipe.
Okay, yeah. Take me down to the paradise city where the grass is green and the girls are pretty. Take me home.
Awesome. That's beautiful, man.
Yeah, man. Guns and Roses.
Yeah. Well, it's always a treat to talk to you, Junior. Always just brings so much happiness into the world, and it's just a treat. I'm glad to see you back in there for a big fight. Last thing, actually, what do you think about fighting in the small cage and in front of no crowd?
Well, I think it's gonna be like it is at the gym. Not that big cage, and nobody, there screaming at you or something like that. So yeah, it's gonna be. I don't think it's gonna be very different for me, but yeah, I think I'll do very well. And also the smaller cage, it makes the fight even more interesting.
Versus the
We
action.
get closer to each other, so there's nowhere to go. We have to bang.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. Well, I'm really excited for this fight, Junior. I appreciate you taking some time out. As I said off the top, I've seen the photos you've been posting on Instagram and everything. Looks like you're in unbelievable shape already, and we still got a couple more weeks to go.
Oh, yeah, for sure. 36 years old and ready to go.
Well, appreciate the time, Junior. Have a great day, and we will talk to you very soon once again.
Thank you.
Cheers.